Code 6, body of a dead female at a construction site off of Hill Street.
No breakthroughs yet in the brutal series of rapes that have rocked the Southland.
So who are we dealing with here?
It's the first rape victim he's killed. Her name's Rachel Abbott, 29 years old, waitress. Roommate filed a missing persons 2 days ago. And the new guy's here, the one the assistant director assigned.
Don? David Sinclair?
Homicide said she called the job to report car trouble. Said she was going to phone AAA. AAA has no record of that call.
Here you go, sir.
Thanks.
No wounds or ligature marks. She probably suffocated. Avidity shows she was dead when the body was moved here.
Made with the same implement used on the 12 previous rape victims. Metal, heated to 300 degrees and pressed into the skin for about 3 seconds.
Rape isn't enough of an assault for this guy? He has to burn them?
Branding asserts his possession, like the women belong to him.
As the psych expert tell me.
After 12 rapes, why did you decide to kill Rachel Abbott?
Death is permanent possession. Murder the ultimate act of ownership.
The violence has escalated with each attack. He's been working up to this.
Use something to cover a face, causing asphyxiation.
Well, like duct tape? Or a bag?
No tape marks. So I'd say an airtight substance, maybe a plastic bag. The marks on her wrists are from thin gauge rope. The severe abrasions occurred shortly before death.
She fought harder when she realized she couldn't breathe.
Federal Bureau of Investigation.
I have information about the rapist.
At middle school, 2 miles from where he attacked that woman.
Federal Bureau of Investigation.
Still no leads in the hunt for the LA rapist.
Yet in the brutal series of rapes that have rocked the Southland.
We all use math every day. To forecast weather. To tell time. To handle money. We also use math to analyze crime. Reveal patterns. Predict behavior. Using numbers, we can solve the biggest mysteries we know.
The
dead girl's car. We need to find it. If she was attacked where it broke down, we do have a shot at some forensics.
1981 Honda Civic Blue, California plate 2BAI222. All regional agencies are looking for it.
Let's get on that.
Thanks.
David, I want you to oversee the search for that car.
All right.
Terry. We need to go talk to Karen Silber again.
Why Karen Silber?
That's victim number 12. There were inconsistencies in her statement. Get my stuff.
You get on that car.
I'll be talking to Merrick before we're out of the parking lot.
It's a major case. The assistant director needs to know he's getting the facts without spin, so...
Don, in the 10 years I've known you, you've never given anybody spin. Even when you should have.
I'm just happy for the help. We can use it. I'm sorry we have to ask these questions again, but you understand the case has changed. Right?
Did he talk about having watched you, as if he knew your routine?
He didn't say. His attitude was like I didn't have an existence outside of what he was doing to me.
You were just trying to get through each moment. And I know you couldn't see him.
He taped my eyes shut.
Maybe you remember his hands. Were they rough? Were they calloused?
No, but they were strong. And cigarettes. His hands smelled like he smoked.
That's something you hadn't told us before. How about we go over the moments right before it happened, just to see if we can pin down the time any better?
I don't remember that part. I tried, but I can't. Please. Getting married next month. My fiancé. Can you imagine how this has been for him, for both of us?
Karen, help me stop this guy. The brand with the 4 crosses. Did he say anything that would indicate its significance or meaning?
No. If I knew anything that would help, don't you think I'd tell you?
Director Merrick.
Agent Sinclair's catching me up on the case.
Sure.
You get anything from Karen Silber?
She's still holding something back, but we're working on her.
What about these tips?
It's over 20,000 calls and emails. We're halfway through, getting another 200 every day.
What about finding a car?
We're on it.
Good.
Got anything?
Merrick's just threatened by you because you ran your own office. He needs to feel like he's contributing ideas.
He's doing his job, making sure I haven't missed anything. Have I missed anything?
No, except several days worth of sleep.
We gotta break some kind of lead on this, and I have no idea where that's gonna come from.
Seconds, 68.3 miles per hour. No one would ever guess you don't have a driver's license.
MIT and Stanford. Can't touch that.
Professor Charles Edward Epps.
Larry, give me a hand.
So this is what distracts you from helping me, your friend, your colleague, win the Nobel Prize for my 11-dimensional supergravity theory?
Well, in a way, this project is related to your theory.
Wait, this go-kart?
Go-kart? This isn't a go-kart. This is an extreme gravity vehicle. Its shape will help inform the next generation of high-performance automobiles.
Okay, hooray for making things go faster, but I fail to see how this will provide me the necessary mathematical breakthroughs I need to redefine the fabric of the cosmos.
You know, some physicists do their own math. Ed Witten, Richard Feynman.
Hurtful. I actually knew Feynman. I actually think of him often. You know, here's a discussion. Why is it that we remember the past and not the future?
That's a tough one, Larry. Look, I'll have time on Monday. I'll run through some equations for you.
Donnie!
Brisket. Must be Friday.
What's up? I didn't have time to drive home. Can I catch a shower here, maybe borrow a clean shirt?
Yeah, sure, be my guest. Oh, and tell your brother to come down for dinner.
All right.
You want some? There's plenty.
No, I can't. I gotta get back to work.
Hey, what's going on? What are you doing here?
Just making sure you don't take complete and total advantage of Dad.
You kidding? You wouldn't know what to do without me.
Charlie, what do you think you're doing?
Crime scenes. What kind of
Get
crime?
away from here. These are confidential case files.
We just looked at the map. I made sure he didn't go through anything else.
Good.
13 crime scenes spread over a contained region. You guys are analyzing the significance of those locations.
Yeah, it's called predictive analysis. The FBI pioneered it. I trained in it at Quantico, and it doesn't work on serial crimes. There's no way to predict the location of the next attack.
You know, I helped you out on that stock fraud mess and the IRS extortion case.
Yeah, this is different. It's not about numbers.
Everything is numbers. Don. Hey, can you show you something really quick?
Charlie,
I know.
Charlie,
I know. Just come, hear me out. Hear me out, come here. Check this out. You see the sprinkler? Yeah?
Yeah, I see the sprinkler.
You see the drops?
Yeah, see the drops.
Even using math, there's no practical way to predict where the next water drop will land. There's too many variables. However, say I couldn't see the sprinkler. From the pattern of the drops, I could calculate its precise location. It's not about predicting the next site. It's finding what the sites have in common, the point of origin.
Charlie, you're saying you can tell us where the killer lives?
Yeah.
The movements of a serial perpetrator are defined by his needs. He watches potential victims. Avoiding detection, he'll frequent public areas, parks, streets that don't get a lot of traffic. Waiting for moments of isolation.
Isolated areas, high probability of attacks.
TV distracting you? I can turn it off.
It's fine, Dad.
What else? What else?
Serial offenders cover a wide region, but rarely commit crimes near their homes. It's a buffer zone. Early in a cycle, buffer zones will vary in size, but as the cycle matures, they tend to stabilize.
These guys follow patterns.
Exactly. There's also distance decay. The more intensity the attacker feels about a crime, the further he will travel to commit it. You don't want to look at those.
How do you gauge intensity?
By the nature and the extent of the injuries, the length of each abduction, adherence to ritualized behavior. I listed the incidents by estimated intensity.
Oh, great. This will give me enough to start putting together some expressions. So just give me a minute.
Sure.
Yeah.
Who's up?
Sean Green.
Oh, Green. 4 games without a hit. He's due.
There's no statistical evidence for a batter being due.
I say he gets a high fastball, he smacks it out of the park.
This is a tape of yesterday's game?
Oh, at the box scores.
3-1 the count. A high fastball. Green hit.
Oh! Oh! Wow. Hey, you know, that was an anomaly.
Something like that, Charlie.
Wow, that's impressive.
Agent Epps, the dead girl, Rachel Abbott.
What do you got?
Microscopic particles of fungal matter were found in the victim's lungs, inhaled shortly before death, identified as black truffles, the kind you cook with.
So maybe the bag he put over her head is the one he bought him with.
There's some 200 places you can find black truffles in this area.
Plus more on the internet. I'll get on it.
No car yet? Not yet. Look, I know you got a job to do for the assistant director, but there is a guy out there who's attacking women. I need to know where your priorities are. Sir, my first priority is to assist you on this case.
I've notified every jurisdiction from San Diego to Seattle. This car is not turning up.
All right. Listen up, everybody. We need to piece together Rachel Abbott's last day. Where was she? Where was she going? If she was having car troubles, maybe she was on the way to the repair shop. Did she go to a movie? Was she shopping? Call out parking facilities. Deal with people on the premises. Did she break down on a freeway or a surface street? Ask CHP about abandoned vehicles. And I know you've done some of this, but do it all and then do it over again. Please. Early in a cycle, buffer zones vary. But as the cycle matures, they tend to stabilize. He watches potential victims, waiting for moments of isolation.
It's Monday. It's 2:45 in the afternoon. Monday after lunch.
Larry. Larry! Larry! All right. Sorry, I was busy working on something. I know I'm supposed to be going through some equations for you.
Yes, I wondered if I got the time wrong or the place or quite possibly the dimension.
No, I'm developing an application for the FBI. You know what? You actually might be able to help me. The problem involves finding an origin point from evidence provided by scattered effects.
Somehow I doubt we're talking about orbital paths and black holes.
Not exactly, no.
Évariste Galois, brilliant young mathematician, not unlike yourself, tackling the hardest problems in his day. But he got distracted. He got caught up in politics, in romance.
I know where you're going with this.
And at the age of 20, he was killed in a duel, and who even knows what he might have accomplished?
I would say I'm actually pretty good at avoiding duels.
Charlie, what I'm trying to say is, you are almost 30 years old. You're at your peak as a mathematician. Many mathematicians do their best work in a very short time period, maybe 5 to 8 years. Just, hey, forget about me. Forget about my supergravity theory. You have abilities. You could be helping define the nature of reality. All I'm asking is that you just consider how you spend what time you have.
Actually, it's this way, over here. Hi.
It's all right. You all right?
Hi. All right. Amita, can you put the first map right up here, please?
Here you go. I'll help you with that.
How you doing?
Good. It's nice to see you again.
Okay. This map was generated by an equation.
Oh, wait, Charlie, don't erase that.
No, it's okay. It's an old case.
I'm writing the equation here in abbreviated form. I've pinpointed the area most likely to be the perpetrator's residence.
You got the guy's address?
Not the address, no. An approximate base. Okay, I'm using some of the same techniques that physicists use to find black holes, which can't be detected in any way other than the effect that they have on objects around them.
Black holes.
Walt, he based his work on FBI theories of serial crime.
Okay, Professor, why don't you just walk us through it? Amita, can you put up the enlarged version? The first point, really, to take into account is that when picking places to attack a victim or dump a body, the perpetrator will choose sites that appear to be selected at random. He doesn't want you to make any conclusions about where he lives, what areas he frequents.
Right.
You know what, let's do an elementary demonstration. Okay, so can you help me just move this back? And let's slide this over there. And can you 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Can you just come up here? And you know what, you guys too, just please distribute yourselves randomly across this area right here.
You mean spread out?
Like this? That's exactly right. But look what you've done. You have distributed yourselves at equal intervals, while true random patterns will include clusters.
We're spaced too evenly.
Exactly, it's pretty difficult. To consciously pick a random sequence, your target tried, but like you, he wound up with roughly even spacing.
In trying to avoid a pattern, he wound up with one anyway?
Yep, locations purposefully distanced from a site not on your map, but clearly marked in the perpetrator's mind, namely his residence. The equation reveals the probability that each area has of being the subject's base. Yellow's the hot zone.
I had a feeling about Silver Lake.
I estimate an 87% chance he lives in that area.
You know, I don't know a lot about mathematics, but this doesn't make any sense to me.
It makes more sense than this.
You can't win if you don't buy a ticket.
Yes, this is truth. However, the odds of this one being the winning ticket are 1 in 41 million, which means if you bought 20 tickets every week, you would win the jackpot once every 40,000 years.
Really?
Yep. It's basic probability theory.
Agent Epps, we've got the dead girl's car. It's in a parking structure in West Hollywood.
Let's go. Test it. Run it against cases from the past that have been solved. Miller, pull some files for him to work with.
You ever play craps?
Agent Epps, over here.
Why don't you check on the girl's car, David?
Got it. Turned up anything yet?
What do you got?
Someone waited here. We don't know if it is related to Rachel Abbott, but we've got cigarette butts, soda cans. Condition shows they were left here recently.
Checking them for DNA?
We will.
Why wait here? He couldn't know her car wasn't gonna start.
Nobody tampered with the car. Spark plugs fouled, built up over time.
What street does that nurse Karen Silber live on?
Fountain, right? What's the exact address?
634 Fountain.
Get her on the phone. That's her house right there. He was watching Silver. Then he hears someone having car trouble. Rachel Abbott. That's a target of opportunity. That's not why he was here. He's still after Silver.
Karen Silver didn't show up for work today. Nobody knows where she is.
Let's move.
Call for backup! Window open!
I'll check the house.
Serial killer, Boston, 1992. Killer resided in hot zone. Serial rapist, Portland, 1983. Rapist resided in hot zone.
Tonight, the Southland is rocked by the return of the LA rapist. Karen Silver, who lived on this
killed by a man who had already raped her.
Silver was found dead in her own home after an apparent second visit by the LA rapist. Neighbors insist they heard nothing unusual.
We've ordered police protection for the other victims.
It's done.
Do you think he'll go after another previous victim anyway?
No, he's too smart.
Very rare for a serial offender to go after the same person twice.
He probably intended to kill her the first time. She said she put up a hell of a struggle.
I think in his mind he was just finishing what he started.
But we're still at a dead end. What's your next course of action?
But today there was a tragic discovery of Karen's body, again showing the marks of the LA rapist.
Charlie tested the equation on 5 serial cases. In 4, the perpetrator lived in the hot zone.
And he's predicted a hot zone for this case.
Small neighborhood in Silver Lake. About 50 men live in the vicinity. If we move fast, we can get background and DNA on that many guys in
48, 72 hours.
No way we get a court order off an equation. You're gonna have to pick up discarded objects to get the DNA.
Coffee cups, cigarette butts, and chewing gum. That's the plan.
All right.
Let's go. That is number 34. We need the rest. What's the holdup?
DNA test. What do you expect?
The lab needs another day.
Well, he's out there somewhere. And so is his next victim.
Aren't you going to introduce me to your girlfriend?
You've met her before. She's not my girlfriend. I'm her thesis advisor.
Does that mean she can't be your girlfriend?
It's against the rules.
Well, screw the rules. What's more important, learning or love? Well, I'm sure there's no rule against the father of her thesis advisor asking her out.
Go for it. Go right ahead. Be my guest.
Thank you.
Come.
Actually, I'm spoken for, Mr. Apps. Back in Madras, my parents arranged for a marriage to a family friend. A nice Hindu banker from Goa.
Really? Getting married?
God, no. He's a total ass.
Dad, you're like hovering over us, and we have so much work to do.
I thought you already helped your brother.
Something this complex needs to be checked and rechecked.
There's one thing you and your brother have in common. On some things, you're both very thorough. Other stuff, you completely miss.
Right. No, you just have to tell me that long. Sorry, what? I can't. Hold on. 30 minutes.
Don, there's a problem with the
15 minutes is the difference between catching this guy and having another dead woman on our hands. Can you at least get us the DNA results?
Don.
Yeah. That would help. Thank you. Charlie, did you just say we have a problem?
I did a test to verify the equation's accuracy. I reversed it, like running a film backwards. I used the hot zone as a starting point and went the other way. It was supposed to confirm the known crime locations. It did not.
We got 40 agents working 2 days straight. You're telling me that what, you made a mistake?
Not my mistake. It was in the data that you provided.
Those reports have been checked and rechecked.
It was where victim 12 was attacked, so, you know, either you guys got it wrong, or, I don't know, she lied to you.
Why do you say that?
It's evident that these locations fit within a general pattern, except for the first Karen Silber attack in Marina Del Rey, all right? That's way outside the areas defined by the other locations. I mean, just look at these numbers. 86%, 75%, 81%, 2%.
She was hiding something. Maybe this is it.
Numbers don't lie.
Why would she lie about where the attack took place?
She had an ex-boyfriend. She promised her fiancé she wasn't seeing him anymore, but she and the ex were still friends.
So if she was attacked in the area her ex-boyfriend lived?
She'd lie because she didn't want the fiancé to know where she'd been. We're gonna need the address of that ex-boyfriend.
Okay.
Charlie, I have a new location for the first Silber attack. She was probably in Los Feliz near Hillhurst and Franklin.
Great. I'll run the equation again. We'll get a more accurate map.
Wait a minute. What's going on?
We got the last results. All 52 guys from the hot zone cleared. Not a single match.
No, Karen Silber lied about where she was attacked.
We got the right location. Charlie's generating a better map. Please, just come in, be patient. Get on that map. Yeah, Charlie.
It works. The new location fits. The map's much more accurate from 87% to 96%.
All right, give me the new zone.
He wants a new zone.
Hyperion between Melrose and Del Mar.
Hyperion between
Melrose and Del Mar.
Hyperion between Melrose and Del Mar.
Marathon between Lucille and Robinson.
Marathon between Lucille and Robinson.
Between Marathon and Winslow.
Robinson between Marathon and
Robinson
Winslow.
Between Marathon and Winslow. And Winslow between Edgecliff and Mitchell Tarina.
With better data, I was able to narrow it down to a smaller area. You only need to clear about 20 guys.
I would assume that this will allow you, a far more efficient use of manpower and...
Yeah, Charlie, you're telling me the same area, it's only smaller.
Exactly.
Smaller means more accurate.
No, we already cleared those 20 guys.
What? No, that's... Well... You must have missed them because, well, either you cleared someone you shouldn't have, or no, he lives there. You just didn't find him.
You're not listening to me, okay? We cleared all males in that zone.
And that means you missed him.
Look, you just said we're dealing with degrees of probability.
96%. You know what that means. I helped build
an entire weak force theory with less than that.
Yeah.
This officer can crack this case, it's you.
Yeah, but I didn't.
I don't think you realize how hard you push yourself. Everything we tried was gonna be...
Larry, something went wrong, and I don't know what.
The universe is full of these odd bumps and twists. Perhaps you need to make your equation less elegant, more complicated, less precise, more descriptive. It's not going to be as pretty, but it might work a little bit better. And Charlie, when you're working on human problems, there's gonna be pain and disappointment. You've got to ask yourself, is it worth it?
I can't get my head around it.
What are we missing? Where's the problem?
Because my supervisor wanted fresh eyes on it.
Well, maybe the math is not the problem.
What do you mean?
Well, you just said that there was something you couldn't get your head around. And I know for a fact that it can't be the math.
What else is there?
Wait, maybe he's right. I mean, this sprinkler, that totally made sense. That you could track back from the location and find out where the guy lives, right? Totally made sense. Maybe we're thinking about this guy in too narrow a focus.
Are you saying I need to consider more than his criminal activities?
No, not exactly. I'm saying maybe we need to consider more than just where he lives. You know, look at me. If you designed an equation to find my origin, you wouldn't get my apartment because I'm almost never there. My base would be my office.
Which means he'll use his home and his work as points of origin
Exactly.
I can design an equation to identify 2 hot zones. Why didn't I think of that? Don. Dad. It's brilliant. This new equation works back from the crime scenes to identify 2 locations. Okay, so 2 hot zones, but very, very different.
Right.
The old zone was residential. The new zone is in an industrial area.
Home and work. We know he wasn't in the home zone. What would be helpful is if we had a blow up of the industrial.
It's printing out. Theoretically, if you find somebody in this new zone, the work zone, he should have a link to the old one, yeah?
Enough theory. Let's test it. This is Special Agent Epps in Los Angeles. I need to run a database search for companies in the industrial district of Vernon, Los Angeles, California. Lawrence Daughtery. Bruce Dorr. Brian Callahan. Peter Carlucci. Hey, guys, check it out. Got a second hot zone.
Works with the first.
I'm running employee databases of companies in the new zone against FBI databases of sexual offenders. We narrowed it to 8 guys. Adam Clanzani, 7070's too old. John Dorstaff, pedophile, it's not him. Victor Tamani in jail until 2 months ago. Wait a minute, here's something.
What is it?
Roland Haldane runs a small party rental company in Vernon, arrested for attempted rape 12 years ago. Morning, guys. Hold on, we're headed out of here. Miller! Yo! I need you to check out this guy's residence. Let's go, guys.
What's going on?
I'll tell you in the way. Come
we
on,
going?
let's move. Go!
Suspect hasn't returned to his house.
Well, that looks like his van there. Terry, why don't you check for other entrances?
Hang on.
Hi.
Can I help you?
Yeah, I'm Special Agent Epps. This is Special Agent Sinclair. We're following up on a report. Mind if we come in?
Sure, come on.
Bootleg DVDs. Being sold around here? You feds are serious about this pirating stuff.
Yeah, we are.
You prepare food here? I do a little catering on the side.
You cook?
It's a one-man operation. I do everything. Creme brulee.
It's okay.
paramedics, they're on their way.
You ready?
Okay.
You ready?
Hey, Charlie.
I'm gonna talk to the victim.
Hey.
That's what I want to show you. So how they lived in Century City. But he just moved there 3 weeks ago. Look where he used to live. That's why we couldn't find him in the first hot zone.
He was there, but he moved.
It's a hell of an equation, Charlie.
Thank you. Everything is numbers, numbers. Bank robbers, creatures of habit. Once they develop a successful routine, they stick to it. Time of day, day of the week, choice of weapon, disguise, region, these will be the same again and again. It's actually a lot like these fish. Given enough time, it's possible to discern a distinct pattern that each one will follow.
Well, mathematicians, they do so love finding these patterns, don't they? Tell me, what have you gleaned from this set of repeated crime phenomena?
An equation for the FBI that predicts when and where these two particular robbers will strike next. I told my brother they'd hit today.
Curtis, you see anything?
Clear.
Keith?
Clear.
At one of two locations. They've hit 16 banks in 8 months. The FBI's nicknamed them the Charm School Boys because they're so nice and polite. They don't use weapons or threats. They say please and thank you. They even open doors for other bank customers on their way in and out. Using a combination of probability modeling and statistical analysis, I've pinpointed the next robbery.
It's 1:30. These guys actually show up within the time window Charlie's predicted. It's kind of amazing.
Yeah, I know.
Want to hear something wild? When I was in college, I played baseball. Charlie could predict the amount of walks I was going to get just by my stance.
Charles, I have no doubt in your ability to predict the movements of fish and men, but I would offer one cautionary note, just colleague to colleague.
What's that?
Don't mistake the ability to predict with the ability to control.
Yeah, I think I know the difference.
Oh, to be young and brilliant and full of yourself.
Just consider, these Charm School guys or boys or whatever, they have no idea what's about to happen to them. But my equation does.
I have the targets.
Positive ID?
2 Caucasian males, mid to late 30s, baseball cap and sunglasses.
I'm on my way. Let's go, let's go, let's go.
Team 2 Baker, you got him?
Got him. Teller number 3.
We're moving. Everybody watch your line.
Subject 1 is asking the teller to hand him the cash drawer. They're coming out.
Dave, what's your status?
They're coming out, Don. We have to move in.
Go.
FBI! 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 What's going on?
Shots fired! Multiple shooters! Agent down!
We all use math every day. To predict weather, to tell time, to handle money. Math is more than formulas and equations. It's logic. Math is more than formulas and equations. It's rationality. It's using your mind to solve the biggest mysteries we know.
Get down! Get down! Stay strong!
Get back!
Get back! You all right? Covering! Silver sedan, license!
In progress.
Got my gun! Go that way! Go that way! Where'd he go?
I mean, how can we miss him?
It's okay. Let him through.
Where's Don?
He's over there. Hey.
Hey, Charlie, how you doing? It's okay, really. It's fine.
They weren't violent. There were two of them. Why 16 robberies exactly the same? And then this.
I mean, first of all, nobody ever tried to stop them, right? And it wasn't just two guys. You know, they had four backing them up.
Yeah, we had no way of knowing until we confronted them.
That's it. You're good to go. Nothing to Dad, right? Charlie, don't say anything to Dad. I'll take care of it, okay? You heard me, right? Charm school boys. I mean, I'm sorry, they came prepared for war.
We've got people looking at the security tapes from the previous robberies to see if the same accomplices were present at those incidents as well.
There's no doubt in my mind that was a detailed ambush and escape plan.
It didn't hesitate to kill.
I mean, from what I understand, in the last 5 years, this office has lost only 2 agents in the line of fire. Knight's parents are flying in from Denver tonight. I'm gonna go talk to them at the hotel. I mean, I don't know what you say to a parent about their dead son. All right, what do we got so far?
We think their crew consists of at least 6 individuals. From the firearms, use of explosives, to false 911 calls, we're assuming it's a team with extensive training and experience.
Gunman David Schutt was identified by his driver's license as Malcolm Stapleton, 36, video game designer, no criminal record.
How does somebody go from no criminal record to firing on federal agents with an assault weapon?
That's the question we need to be asking. We need to know a lot more about this dead guy. That's
Already
the first
on
thing
it.
we need to know. And we have to assume with their planning and preparation, they're not going to hesitate to hit another bank. So even though we're looking at this guy, Charlie's equation, that's still our best lead.
Well, he was able to predict today's robbery. He should be able to tell us where they're going to go next.
Charlie, did you hear what I said?
I'm just thinking. Understand, this is an entirely new problem now. The pattern I was working from was a false pattern.
No, not so much false as incomplete. You were able to accurately predict today's robbery.
Right, but there's new factors now. Okay? They aren't 2 unarmed guys, so the assumptions we made about them are invalid.
Okay, all right, look. So you take the new factors and you make a new equation, right?
It's not that easy, man. It's not that easy because there's something else that has to be considered.
Like what?
Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. Heisenberg noted that the act of observation will affect the observer. In other words, when you watch something, you change it. And for example, like an electron, you can't really measure it without bumping into it in some small way. Any physical act of observation requires interaction with a form of energy, like light. And that will change the nature of the electron, its path of travel.
Right, all right, hold on. You know I got like a C in physics, so just take me through how this relates to the case.
You've observed the robbers. They know it. That will change their actions.
Okay, so they changed their MO, but we don't have to go back to square one. We know some things about them. We have a basis for making some conclusions.
Good, but I can't help. I can't do this.
Charlie, you feeling okay?
It's just my stomach's been bothering me.
It's normal. Happens to a lot of us after something like today.
Really? I was the only one I know that's throwing up with the crimes.
Buddy, come here. Turn around. Charlie, listen to me. What you saw was bad, okay? I know. Trust me. It takes a while to process that. So what I want you to do is go home. Come on, put that down. Give me that. Charlie, you go home and you get some rest. Go. When you come up with something, just call us, all right?
Charlie, call me if you want to talk about anything, okay?
Charlie. Counting on you, buddy.
That piece of evidence you found at the scene, we know what it is.
Excellent.
It's an ultra-thin plastic mask that you can peel off in a second, wad up, and throw away.
Right. A micromass. CIA uses this stuff for covert operations.
That explains how he was able to just disappear.
He could alter the shape of his face, his nose, making him unrecognizable.
Oh, so much for mugshots.
I'm gonna find out where you can get one of these things.
Right, thanks.
Sure.
Charles? Charles? Oh, listen, I just stopped by. Amita said that you weren't going to be coming to campus tomorrow, and I don't know, surely you remember you're giving a presentation to my graduate seminar.
Larry, I'm right in the middle of a significant line of thought.
Donnie! Hey, Dad. You all right?
Yeah, I'm okay. Ow. Look, it's just my arm's a little sore. I got a scrape during an incident.
Scrape from what?
Well, a bullet if you have to know, but it's not a... Dad, please, listen to me, okay? Just relax. We had an arrest go bad, and we lost an agent, okay? And 3 people died. Now, I'm looking for Charlie. Where is he?
He's out in the garage with Larry. He's upset. Now I can see why now.
What's he doing in the garage?
He's just working that problem, you know.
What?
The problem you can never solve. The
P versus P
Yeah,
thing?
that's the one.
Man.
Where you going?
I gotta talk to him. I need a new equation.
You know that it's considered unsolvable.
Well, certainly people who have failed to solve it might think that. But we all know Minesweeper consistency is an NP-complete problem, so I believe that there's an answer in here somewhere.
Minesweeper? What are we talking about? Computer games?
Yes, but if you keep talking to me, I'm going to lose my train of thought, so please don't talk anymore, because I need to follow through on this line of adjacent vertices.
Look, please don't do this.
Don't do what? Go ahead. Try and tell me what it is that I'm doing. You don't even know what it is I'm doing.
No, actually, I do. The thing is, I don't think you do.
Okay, I'm gonna go contemplate the koi pond.
Charlie, look, you helped us find these guys once before. You can do it again. Come on.
Why, so you can shot again?
No, buddy, look, I understand, I appreciate you care about me, but it's not gonna happen.
Statistically, you're dead now. You understand what that means? A man aimed a gun at your head and fired. The fact that you survived is an anomaly, and it's unlikely to be the outcome of a second such encounter.
Listen to me, we don't have many leads, okay? If you can help us predict when and if these guys are gonna hit another bank, this is the only shot we got.
Please understand, sometimes can't choose what I work on. I can't follow through on a line of thinking just because I want to.
To the neighbors of his former residence.
All right, that's a good idea.
The cut was made away and down from the assailant, minimizing blood spatter. The weapon was an extremely sharp, wide blade knife.
Somebody with medical training?
More like military experience.
You know, the victim in the robbery, the guy in the boiler room, had his throat cut exactly like this.
The wound on that body was very similar. But here's something new. Look at this. Electrical burns. This man was tortured before he was killed.
All right, so they kill efficiently, they use torture, and they can execute a coordinated escape.
You thinking military?
I'm thinking special forces.
Epps.
We're on our way. Trump School boys just hit another bank. Let's go. All right, thanks.
Hey, same MO, same two guys. Asked for cash, didn't show a weapon. But when the assistant manager followed them outside and pulled out a cell phone, they shot him.
You realize this breaks the pattern of 2 weeks between robberies. Excuse me.
Hello?
Yeah, actually, I think you might have the right number. Ma'am, my name is Don Epps with the FBI. There's been an incident. Are you at home? Can you please stay there? We're gonna come see you. What's your address?
That's my gun.
Classic psych ops technique. It's trying to get inside your head so you don't think clearly and dispassionately.
Yeah, well, we need to look beyond conventional military. Start concentrating on Delta Force, Navy SEAL units.
I agree. Have you shown any of the new data to Charlie?
No, he's not working the case. It's just that crazy math problem day and night. I mean, last time he pulled one of these was when our mother got cancer.
They were close?
Yeah, but, I mean, when she came home from chemo, we couldn't deal. He just stayed in the garage. I mean, he didn't spend any time with her.
What are you thinking?
But he can't stay in the garage forever.
You know, Don and Charlie, they graduated high school on the same day.
Thank you. Don's mentioned it a few times.
Kind of puts an edge on that sibling rivalry thing, you know?
Yeah, I'm sure it does. But having a kid like Charlie had to put some unusual pressure on the family. How old was he when you first realized he was exceptional?
I think he was 3 when he multiplied 4-digit numbers in his head. By the age of 4, he needed special teachers, special classes. My wife, his mother and I, we put a lot of time into his education. It was Don. He was the one who had to get used to taking care of himself.
Well, he might have gotten used to it, but I'm not sure he's as good at it as he thinks he is.
Well, it's hard for him to ask anyone for help. It's really hard for him to ask Charlie.
I mean, we think they have special military training, and now they have struck again and killed another innocent person. Charlie. Charlie, please don't do this. Do you understand the stakes we're dealing with here? More bloodshed, people's lives. I mean, if I have to do this on my own, it's gonna put me and all of my people at greater risk. Is that what you want?
Your old pattern's gone, I told you.
Well, then there's gotta be a new pattern, doesn't there? Isn't that the way it works? You incorporate whatever's going on? Oh.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I need your help, you understand?
I don't think I can.
Charlie, I know it's hard for you. I understand that, but it's hard for...
for everybody. You know, I don't know how I got in a situation where I need your help to do my job, but I sure as hell have. And I wish you would just snap out of your precious bubble for once.
Dad. Yeah. I've been working on a problem. P versus NP. It can't be solved.
I think you knew that when you started.
I could work on it forever. Constantly pushing forward, still never reaching an end.
You know, sometimes you want to think that things don't end. But they do.
When Mom was sick, I couldn't stop working on it.
Yeah, I know. I didn't get it. Not then. And your brother sure doesn't understand why you spent the last 3 months of your mother's life working on a math problem. But Joey, your mother, she understood why. Because she knew how your mind worked.
Malcolm was a top-level programmer. He worked in our division that handles tracking software.
Tracking what?
Financial transactions, mostly used by banks for data processing.
What were the circumstances of him leaving the company?
He was on vacation, called to say he was quitting. He had a new job.
All right, thanks. We'll talk to you soon.
Welcome.
All right. Stapleton had high-level access to bank software. He's tortured, he's murdered, and his identity is stolen by a guy who was a member of a bank robbery crew, right?
It doesn't seem like a coincidence. And consider how careful they were to make it seem like he was still alive.
Right, because you figure they're going to want to avoid a murder investigation so no one knows they have access to his work.
Maybe they're using the software to track when banks have large amounts of cash on hand.
Yeah, but the takes are varied, you know? I mean, you got a couple $100,000 in one and $100 in the next.
Don, Captain Joe McNevish, Delta Forces.
How are you, sir?
Our John Doe's fingerprints turned up a match with the Army.
Former Delta Force member, Master Sergeant John Anthony Galbraith. Galbraith received an honorable discharge 4 years ago.
That's the guy I shot.
One of his associates was a Robert Gordon Skidmore. I'm sure the Bureau has a record on him.
Robert Skidmore, convicted of robbing a cash shipment coming into an Army base.
Yeah, that's the guy who took my gun.
He was partners with the guy I shot, Galbraith.
All right, well, we got 2 names. Let's start building a crew chart.
All right.
Well, I was heartened to hear that you've shifted your focus off P versus NP. Well, tell me, what is it that I can help you with?
I failed. I failed to notice something significant. These robberies display certain highly eccentric characteristics.
Okay, how so?
Many were conducted in under 2 minutes, but in many cases, the perpetrators remained on the premises far longer despite having the money. Why would they wait around?
I don't know. I mean, leaving quickly would seem to be the essential strategy when fleeing a felony.
Now, you see this game, Larry? You've got to clear mines without blowing any up. Each time you've cleared a square, a numerical value is revealed. That number tells you exactly how many squares containing mines are directly adjacent to that square. This allows you to predict where the next mine will be located. And then the more boxes revealed, the more accurately one can predict the location of the mines. The pattern used in these bank robberies is similar to this type of problem-solving pattern. These robbers have used the banks they've been robbing to tell them which ones to rob next.
To what end would criminals be playing minesweeper with banks?
I don't know.
That's smart. Right. Well,
Done.
yeah. I'll call you right back. No, I will. Hey, Charlie.
I have some findings for you. I'm sorry I couldn't get to this sooner.
No, now's good. Come on in. What'd you do? Did you rework the equation?
No, I think you need to be looking at a whole nother line of investigation.
Like what?
What's inside a bank that's more valuable than money?
Information, financial data?
Exactly. This case, it isn't about robbing banks. Everything they did made it seem like a typical bank robbery, but while our charm school boys were at the teller's window creating a diversion, they must have had a third man accessing the bank's computers. The question is, why?
We're sure this is the only machine they messed with.
As far as we know.
Why risk robberies? Why not just hack into the bank's computer?
Oh, from an outside source, it's almost impossible. These databases are guarded with intense firewalls.
Besides, by actually robbing the banks, they're able to gain any capital they might need in the meantime.
More important, the data seems to be location specific, so when they're accessing data at one bank, it leads them to data at other banks.
Well, here you go.
It's the YDS software. The program was accessed using Stapleton's passcode on the day of the robbery.
Dollar amounts?
Believe so.
Bank routing numbers?
That's what they are.
The routing numbers are all the same. The cash in this list is all going to the same bank.
Which bank?
That's a special Federal Reserve routing number for the Federal Reserve Bank of San Francisco, specifically the Los Angeles branch.
He helps us on financial cases all the time.
And I tend to remember numbers.
So these heists are diversions. They're distractions.
That's why Stapleton was tortured for his confidential passcodes.
The exact same computer program was accessed at all the banks hit by Skidmore's crew.
So how does this factor into the Federal Reserve?
Well, the program tracks cash being removed from circulation. Old currencies, either worn or ripped. Now, this retired cash is taken out of circulation at local banks. Every few months, it's taken to the Federal Reserve Bank, then to a secret treasury location where it's destroyed.
And that retired cash data is collated by the YDS software, which allows the bank robbers to locate other banks with the same software.
So once they have enough data, they get a fix on a shipment from the Federal Reserve Bank to the Treasury.
Each shipment is maybe $100 million in untraceable cash.
Yes. Right, I got it. That was the Federal Reserve Bank in Los Angeles. They got a shipment of retired currency going to the Treasury in 6 hours, okay? I want to know what the security is, what the route is, what the procedure is, right? Let's go.
Hey, just one thing. Heisenberg and his uncertainty principle.
Right. You say Douglas? What about it?
Remember I told you how the active observation will ultimately affect that which is being observed?
Yes, you did.
These guys know you've studied them. They know you're trying to outthink them.
Charlie, it's all right. Me and Heisenberg, we're all over this.
Ontario Airport in about 20 minutes.
Almost there. 1, Unit 2, code red. Unit 1, Unit 2, come in.
All right, Unit 2 to Unit 1, come in. Unit 2, Unit 1.
Unit 1, Unit 2, code red. Unit 1 to Unit 2, come in.
They're jamming our radios.
Not getting any response.
What do we do?
We'll stick with the plan.
You want to live? Drop your guns. Where's the money?
In the bank.
Drop your weapon! Get on the ground! Back off!
Bridge team, green light.
Drop your weapon! Get your ass down!
Down to the ground! Get down to the ground! Get your hands on your head! Don't move!
FBI, do not move! Do not move! Get that other hand on the wheel right now! Get up! Do it! Get out of the car. Get out of the car! Get down on your face! Billy, cuff him!
Here you go, Pop. I got it. Now, you got it. Okay. Spoon.
Hello? Bonnie!
Wow, it's good to see you.
You guys ate. I'm starving.
Oh, there's plenty. Come on.
Yeah? What, Terry didn't call tell you guys what happened?
Yeah, she said you arrested every suspect. Only one shot fired, huh?
How'd you pull that off?
We knew roughly where they tried to hit the next shipment, and I knew they'd have an escape plan.
It's very clever.
I guess I was inspired by Mr. Heisenberg, just like Charlie here suggested.
Heisenberg? You mean the physicist?
Yeah.
Oh.
Your brother goes into a dangerous confrontation with heavily armed felons, and you prepare him with a lecture on the movement of subatomic particles.
Yep. It worked, didn't it?
Yes, I guess it did. I'm telling you, if your mother could see you two guys now, she would be so happy.
What are you doing with your P versus P thing?
NP?
Sorry.
I'm not pursuing it anymore.
No?
I've got plenty of problems to work on. Ones that I think I can actually solve.
Glad to hear it.
knew you'd ask. He forgot.
What's up? What's up?
getting past the hour in sunny Southern California, where the current temperature is 63 degrees. Traffic is looking pretty good right now. Just a couple of things to report.
You're stupid. Hey, play nice or don't play at all.
Mom, I feel kind of sick.
It's from reading in the car. You should have done your homework last night.
Seriously, it's my stomach. It really hurts.
Josh is gonna puke. Maybe it's just a bug. You think you can go to school?
I don't know. I feel really weird.
Honey, have you seen my tie with the burgundy stripes?
Dry cleaner.
Gray and red one? It's not like I need him to go to work or anything.
I heard that.
You told me to get me a job at the store. You totally left out the part about the graveyard shift.
So, you can sleep in all morning.
I'm gonna sleep in all week.
Bye, guys.
Bye, Mom.
Honey? Honey? Oh, no, Josh, you're really hot.
I feel so cold.
You ever coming out of there, honey? Hey. Are you all right?
Are you getting sick? Because if you are, stay away from me. I can't afford not to go to work tomorrow.
Just need some sleep.
That's it. I'm taking you straight to see Dr. Burke.
Linda? Are you okay? Oh my... Linda! What happened? Baby, talk to me. Baby, talk to me.
Wake up. The bus is coming.
Josh? We're almost at the doctor's, okay?
Commander Lee Haverkamp, Public Health Service.
Don Epps, FBI.
Terry Lake, good morning.
Okay, our first known victim is Joshua Kramer, 16. He got ill Saturday. We've got about 30 suspected cases in the LA region, with 6 deaths so far.
What does it look like?
It's not anthrax, it's not smallpox, probably a pathogen, but we haven't ruled out toxins. CDC is doing autopsies now, but until we can get something definitive, we're keeping the residents under quarantine.
All right, well, the FBI's focus will be possible bioterrorism, where it started a probable point of release.
Yes, we'll need to do a vector analysis.
To track the links between victims?
Yes, and to predict the spread of the illness. The complexities of the calculations require the use of a high-level mathematician. And I've asked one to come in on this case.
Actually, we deal with a top math consultant. We can get him on it immediately.
Love to have him on board, but this is classified on the national security level.
Possible bioterrorism. It'll take a month at least to get a new person cleared.
You guys already got clearance?
Yes, at the highest level. Here he is now. He's a professor from Cal Sci. This is Dr. Charles Epps. He will be doing the vector analysis.
Don? Terry?
Charlie?
I didn't know you guys would be working on this.
So, I don't understand. You just said we need someone with top clearance.
Dr. Epps has clearance.
He does? You do?
Is there a problem?
You just never told me.
I wasn't supposed to.
Right. No, Charlie is my brother, and he's the consultant I was just telling you about. I didn't realize.
Here's the mother of the dead boy. She's also displaying the same symptoms.
We have to figure out what this is before it gets out of control.
We all use math every day. To predict weather, to tell time, to handle money. Math is more than formulas and equations. It's logic. Math is more than formulas and equations. It's rationality. It's using your mind to solve the biggest mysteries we know.
Symptoms to look out for include aches, fever, nausea.
That could just be the flu or a case of food poisoning.
Neither of which show up by breakfast, and both can kill you by dinner. So whatever we're dealing with here is fast and is serious.
Death results from respiratory collapse. Until we identify what's behind this thing, we are assuming it is an infectious agent, probably airborne, probably viral.
Are we putting out any kind of public health alert?
Okay, an infectious pathogen is categorized as a weapon of mass destruction. This investigation is classified.
Okay, and if it keeps spreading?
It is imperative that we avoid a public panic. If people leave LA, they will spread this contagion faster and farther.
CDC and the Public Health Service job is to find out what we're dealing with. The FBI's is who, and the key to both is where, right? Where it started.
Tracking an infectious disease is a complicated, multivariable problem. Imagine an infected person goes into an empty room. 4 healthy people go into the same room. Only 2 become infected. Then all 5 go into other rooms, each joined by 4 more unexposed people. More get sick, and so on. By the time you've got 100 rooms, it's tough to track back. To that one woman, it takes complex statistical analysis and graph theory.
Not everyone that gets exposed gets sick.
Exactly. But we don't know why.
And what do you know so far?
We have several hotspots associated with 2 or more victims. Downtown is common to 5 victims. Could be a possible trend that's too soon to know. These are the results of a quick analysis of the victims' activities based on victim interviews. So there's no significant commonalities, but I hope that as more people get sick, we'll find some. Not that I hope more people get sick.
We know, Charlie. So it sounds to me like what you're saying is you need more data?
Exactly. Thank you. Both to find the origin point and to track the spread.
In the days leading up, did Josh go anywhere out of the ordinary?
No. My husband came home late the night before Josh got sick.
Late from work?
He's been in San Diego the last few days.
Did your wife go anywhere out of the ordinary over the last few days?
It's been a normal week. She went to work, I went to work.
She went to the movies yesterday. But we both did, and I'm fine.
Downtown. We both work downtown.
But the movie was in Van Nuys. Does that help?
And you live in?
Hancock Park.
Glendale.
Hey.
Hey.
No classes today?
No.
Are you working on something for Don?
It's a genetics project for a friend in the bio department, actually.
He or she?
Huh?
Your friend, male or female?
Does it matter?
No, of course not. I was just curious. I just thought maybe, you know.
Well, listen, Dad, whenever I have a girlfriend, I will let you know by putting a note on the refrigerator.
Good. Oh, that's nice.
Where are you going right now?
My book club.
Mm-hmm. And where's that?
Phil's house, Raymond Avenue. You keeping track of me?
No, I'm just curious.
Oh.
No claims of responsibility by any groups, domestic or international.
Right, well, if it were terrorism, somebody would be taking credit. They would be putting forth a philosophy or an agenda.
Unless they're no longer around to take credit.
Because they're infected, maybe dead.
Maybe.
Just the thought, but we're assuming there's a bad guy. I mean, in this type of case, there might not be one.
It's also possible we're just looking for the wrong kind of bad guy.
Well, until the CDC determines otherwise, we're going to have to assume somebody did this.
This geographic information system will allow us to map victims and potential disease clusters with real-time data. They're all over the LA area, from Long Beach to Santa Barbara. Now, in computing the reproductive ratio, actually, you know what? I've written it out.
Oh, sure, that helps.
Yeah.
This is an SIR model. Susceptible, infectious, recovered, used in conjunction with the GIS, will work to learn two key things. What's the source? Is it a person or a place? What the CDC calls a patient zero. And where is it going? Where are the new patients we need to find?
Looks sort of like a plant.
That's a great way to think about it. Like a plant. A virus spreads out, it grows, so to speak. Branching is a common pattern in nature, from crystals to giant redwoods. Now, we don't have enough data to locate where it started or to fully predict the spread. Once we do, we'll know the shape of the leaves and branches.
How's it going?
Oh, good. Any more data on new victims?
11 more.
This is interesting. A woman who picked up her daughter at the Glendale Amtrak station. A man who had lunch on Olvera Street. Cab driver. Commander Haverkamp, this material just pushed us over the tipping point. See it? The commonality of location.
It's like two trees growing from the same root, right? One to the north and one south.
Both starting at Union Station. We have 12 victims that were either there, near there, or picked somebody up who had been there.
Makes sense. Busy transportation hub, people coming and going.
Don, I'm not so sure about this finding. I haven't had time to test its accuracy, and I'm worried that if I'm wrong, the projected pattern of spread will miss too many infected people.
Well, Charlie, test away, but we can't afford to wait. Epps.
We've closed Union Station. Cover story being given out as asbestos was found on the walls.
The station fits the profile of a place to release a virus for maximum dispersal.
Right, which is what I said to Charlie. It made no impression.
It wouldn't. You were speaking terrorism, he was speaking math.
Hey.
I just got off the phone with Haverkamp.
And?
The infectious agent is the pandemic flu.
What? A flu?
Pandemic. The Spanish flu.
Spanish flu.
In 1918, it was a global epidemic, extremely virulent, extremely deadly. The Spanish flu killed a disproportionate number of healthy adults. It left towns half empty.
What'd they do in 1918? How'd they stop it?
Nothing. There's no cure.
They just waited until the virus burned out.
How many died?
In the United States, 600,000.
In 6 months.
6 months?
I think we have to tell him, Don.
Can't. It's against the law.
It's his day to volunteer at the Skid Row shelter downtown, like 5 blocks from Union Station.
Well, so what? Traffic downtown's always terrible.
No, it's worse than usual. There's a SIG alert because of an accident on the 2, and you're going to blow your whole day in the car.
And then downtown, isn't there that, there's that protest.
Right, yeah. Foreign trade subsidies.
Over on,
That you can't tell me? But you don't want me to go downtown?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea not to go downtown. Okay, can we leave it at that?
I'll take your concerns under consideration.
So what, you're saying you resurrected the 1918 strain?
Viral pathogens can exist for decades, hidden in nature, only to suddenly re-enter the human population. Ebola virus crops up periodically in Africa. Eventually, at some point, the Spanish flu is bound to reemerge in a major outbreak.
And without a vaccine, we're talking about a global epidemic.
That's why we've revived the virus. The pharmaceutical companies will need it to develop a vaccine specific to the Spanish flu.
Okay, I'm going to want to review your security measures and your inventory. Now, you'd know if any Geno samples were missing. I mean...
No. We're obligated by law to report any losses to the CDC.
And what about personnel? Have they gone on vacation, anybody? Called in sick, anything like that?
No, not recently. Only 3 of us work with the strain. Myself, a research analyst, Martin Grolsch, and Jessica Avery, a microbiologist on loan from Mount Sinai School of Medicine.
No, that's impossible.
Why do you say that?
Because the Spanish flu pathogen is handled only by experienced professionals. There are protocols. A release can't just happen.
You're saying any release would have to be the result of a deliberate act.
The people in this field who have access to the virus, they would not do that.
You're sure? You know all of them?
Many of them, yes, as a matter of fact. And those that I don't know work for people I do know. And they all understand the stakes. What you're suggesting just isn't possible.
Profile her for me.
Yeah, fascinating. She's created a mythological self-image of the scientist as a dispassionate god.
You like her for this?
I find the idea of a medical hero interesting. Like an arsonist who sets a fire so he can be the first person on a scene to report it.
I don't know. I guess it's a cliche, but I just tend to think of mad scientists as madder than that.
Extremists don't have to be drooling, wild-eyed maniacs. They're often acting out of sincere, if misguided, beliefs. When they tell you why they did it, they expect you to understand.
Well, you're gonna have to give me a motivation that would seem rational to someone like her.
Exposing the dangers of viral research, forcing more federal funding. I'd like to run down that angle.
All right, well, I'm gonna go see the other guy that works in the lab, see where he fits in the sane to wild-eyed spectrum. See you later.
My reaction? My reaction is, whoa. You sure it's a Spanish flu?
Oh, yeah, we're sure.
Yeah. What kind of question is that? Of course you're sure. Whoa.
And you do work closely with the virus.
You kidding? I know it's gene fragments better than my own girlfriend. Are you looking for something in particular?
Not really. Though I did notice an open suitcase on your bed.
Yeah, I'm flying back east for a high school reunion.
Which one?
Which high school?
Which reunion?
15th.
What year did you graduate?
1990. Look, I know you're here because I work at Geno, but I didn't do it.
Do what?
Release the virus.
How did you know it was loose?
Oh. Why else would you be here talking to me about the Spanish flu? Besides, the word is out in the bio community.
We're going to need the names of everyone you've spoken to.
Come on. It's not against the law for a bunch of lab techs to exchange information. You gotta admit this is pretty major information.
Why is it that you don't seem too concerned?
You kidding? I know this bug better than you. I know exactly how dangerous it is, okay? I am freaked.
But?
Well, if it's in the population, outside the lab taking lives, then the rush to develop a vaccine is very urgent. The major pharmaceutical companies, they rely on labs like ours to provide the pathogen. I'm sorry, can you not do that?
Just doing his job.
Yeah.
And actually, I'd like to take a look upstairs if that's okay.
Yeah, and actually, no, it's not. I haven't done anything wrong, and I'd like you to leave.
You sure about that?
CDC found no trace of the virus there.
Well, Haverkamp said it can't live outside of the body but for a few minutes.
What if we're wrong about Union Station in the first place?
Charlie, look, it is a classic dispersal site. I mean, especially if we're dealing with an intentional release.
Maybe, but too few of the victims have direct links to the trains.
You're right.
Every minute that goes by.
I know. People are getting sick out there. We're doing what we can. We're dealing.
Fathers, mothers, their children. How do you forgive yourself if you're wrong?
You don't. We can't be wrong.
Larry, you have a minute?
Yes, because we all have exactly the same number of minutes at all times, do we not?
Oh, my. Listen, I am working on a statistical analysis that involves complex variables and multiple vectors. I have come up with a solution as to the 0 point, but the experts in the field think it's right, and in fact, they're quite sure of it, but
you think it's wrong, but you don't trust yourself because the experts know the field better than you do.
To be honest, the answer does seem quite logical.
But Charles, you're making the assumption that these people know their field as well as you know math, and that's an assumption I find tremendously problematic.
Well,
And how can something be, logical and mathematically suspect? I mean, as you're so fond of saying, math is logic.
Right, but in this particular case,
You know, the most fascinating aspect of this entire conversation for me is how careful you are not to give specifics about what the problem is. Now, since you tend to over-describe whatever it is you're working on, I'm guessing that you're not telling me because you can't.
I would certainly love to.
No, don't bother. My answer to you is still the same. Go back to the data.
All right. Okay.
Okay, of course, thank you.
Here, let me ask one thing. When we met just now, was I going out or coming into the library?
Larry, you were coming out.
Oh, God, my memory is a memory. All right.
Larry, you were coming out.
Go back to the data.
Patient zero might have just come in from somewhere. Or, if it's an intentional release, a central somewhere. It's a classic dispersal site.
Busy transportation hub, people coming and going.
The virus was at Union Station, but that's not where it started. The source point is the downtown main bus terminal.
Yeah, but the CDC and the Public Health Service are sure about Union Station.
They say it's a logical place for someone to release a virus, but if they don't understand the motivation behind the release, then how can they say it's a logical place for someone to release it?
I see your point.
Here's Union Station, right?
Right.
Here's the pattern of the pathogen. Remember, like an oak tree, growing north, its reflection growing south.
Yes, I get that part, Charlie.
What happened to east and west? Why isn't the virus spreading in all directions? Because it wasn't released on a train. We would have found illnesses among passengers. So how do we explain why the virus spreads north and south?
Well, I don't know, but Union Station is definitely a point of commonality for the victims. I mean, it may not be the only one, right? I'll give you that. And it may not even be the biggest one.
Let's see what happens when I adjust the vector track to the downtown main bus terminal. See, now this model incorporates more of the cases, 36% more to be exact.
So what does that mean?
More sick people will be linked to the bus terminal and to the train station.
You know Amtrak actually shuttles people in buses. So even if it wasn't released at Union Station, it's still a place where infected people would wind up.
Right, where you couldn't find patterns linked to specific trains, I do believe you will find patterns linked to specific buses, one heading north, one south.
And this is something I don't understand. What, am I reading this right, that people to the north are getting sicker than people to the south?
80% of the deaths linked to the north pattern.
But that doesn't make sense. How can people to the north be more vulnerable to the same virus?
What if it isn't the same virus? What if there's two different viruses?
There's two strains of the same virus. They're traveling in two different directions. The differences to their structure is small. But the differences to the impact on the population is significant.
And what's the likelihood of two strains appearing naturally in the same place at the same time?
A statistical impossibility.
So it was released deliberately by someone. I just don't understand two strains. Epps. Right. Got Atlanta on the teleconference. Morning.
Good morning. There are two different strains of the Spanish flu. The incongruity is genetic, one gene in particular.
But when Geno resurrected the Spanish flu, they didn't bring back the actual thing. They stitched together RNA fragments from a standard lab flu strain with genes from the 1918 flu.
The other strain uses less of the RNA from the original pandemic flu, and as we can see from the pattern of deaths, is less virulent.
Do we know who manufactured the first one, the less lethal one?
Yes, it carries genetic markers unique to Russell Labs in Maryland, but the CDC has no record of a sample being removed or transported from Russell Labs.
But it is here, along with another one from Geno's LA lab.
The virus was released by aerosol spray on two buses, one northbound, one southbound. The father of the first victim, Joshua Kramer, he rode a northbound bus. But only his wife and oldest son got sick. The other two children seem okay.
All right. Well, we better start running down everybody who was in and out of that terminal on the day the virus was likely released. Get the county public health department, LAPD, county sheriffs, everybody just moving on it, right?
Well, now that we know about the buses, we can find victims you might have missed. That means getting them help sooner.
Right, good.
Stop the spread.
Bus terminal director's compiling security videos onto discs. We'll get it as soon as possible, Don.
Good, good. I'm gonna get them moving on that.
have you been?
Bowling.
Really?
No, of course not. I was downtown at the shelter.
Dad.
Well, look, no one else seems to be worried about being down there.
That's because they didn't know.
Didn't know what? You wouldn't tell me. Look, if everybody can be down there, why can't I? I got this fuzzy feeling that you and your brother have been going downtown too, huh? Am I right?
Okay, but we were worried about you. Do you understand?
Look, Charlie, your brother puts himself on the line every day on that job of his. Don't you think I'm worried about him, huh? But I know how vital that job is to him. You've been helping him out quite a bit lately, haven't you? You know what I'm really proud of? I'm proud that I've raised two sons, well, we've raised two sons who have a great sense of public service.
You okay?
Yeah, sure, it's just a cough.
Be careful, it's flu season.
Yeah, well, don't worry about me. I never get the flu.
Because these flu viruses are so similar, sometimes we can use the less virulent strain to make vaccines and treatments for the deadly ones.
You can't cure viral infections.
No, we can, but we do have therapies that reduce the symptoms in some strains.
This is Russell strain, yeah? That's Geno's. That's the more deadly strain.
Quantifying the difference between the two strains can take months.
All right, well, I'm just doing a rough analysis to get sort of a simplified perspective of the differences, because I'm just curious.
The way you've simplified it, I can see a similarity to a protein signature from yet another strain. We've got a treatment for that. It's a long shot. They're so close. It's possible to use the therapies to cure the Spanish flu victims.
I got Dr. Weaver here who has something he thinks that might be very important to us.
It occurred to me that these might be helpful in identifying a specific viral strain. Slides of the 5 known Spanish flu strains. They might help you in identifying where the virus originated.
Thank you very much for bringing this down here. We appreciate it.
Under the circumstances, the least I could do. And I know that during an investigation, the FBI has to do its due diligence, but I would like to take this opportunity to speak on behalf of my research associates. They are both very competent, trustworthy people.
Of course.
Especially Martin Grosch. I know he might seem a bit odd, but...
Space? Just a run of the Yang Mills black hole. Larry. Charles, would you care to join our string theory lunch club?
Sure. I just wanted to thank you. Your advice on the problem I had really worked out.
Okay. Well, the scientific method works every now and then, if you give it a chance.
It helped a lot of people. I wish I could tell you more.
You know, when I first started out teaching, there were still many scientists who'd worked at Los Alamos, and there were things that they couldn't talk about. This was after 30 years. So let's just hope that your secret has a shorter half-life.
And doesn't kill as many people as the atomic bomb.
You served the warrant on Grosch?
Yeah, no, he wasn't there. We posted it and went in. He said it referred to a girlfriend.
Yeah, he did. He made some joke about not seeing her much.
Yeah, probably due to the fact she dumped him a month ago. A series of increasingly hostile email volleys ended with her pulling the plug.
Enough to push him over the edge? I mean, this is all about getting the attention of a woman?
He's a self-involved jerk. I don't see evidence he's a sociopath. And as far as his personal records go, Grosch is a keeper, not a shredder. Copies of his phone bills were reviewing numbers called. So far, nothing.
All right. These go back like 9 months. Here's a hookup charge. He moved here less than a year ago.
Could be something.
Mr. Grosch, when we spoke before, you neglected to mention that you came to California from Maryland.
After you grabbed me, did you put my groceries in the refrigerator? I had some frozen items.
See, that concerns us because not one but 2 strains of the Spanish flu have been released here. One from Geno and one from Russell Labs in Maryland.
Strains from both labs? You're sure?
Where were you employed back east?
Russell Labs, you know that already, or else I wouldn't be here.
You didn't tell us that before.
Well, you didn't ask before. Look, Russell and Jenno are in stiff competition. Bioresearch is a cutthroat business. Dr. Weaver was impressed with my credentials and called to recruit me.
Let me tell you something. You're linked to this outbreak in 2 ways. Do you understand that?
As far as we could tell, you're the only person with access to both strains.
Okay, no. Look, this is nuts. No, I am not the only person. Okay, Russell and Jenno are both competing for the same huge pharmaceutical contract. So when I joined Jenno, I gave my new company a boost by bringing along a sample of what the competition was cooking up.
You took Russell Labs virus with you across the country when you came to work for Jenno?
I followed the proper protocol. There wasn't any risk. But at least 2 other people have access to both strains, Dr. Weaver and Jessica Avery. It's not just me.
Okay, all right. Let's talk about pharmaceutical contracts. What were the 2 companies in competition for?
I think maybe it's time that I had my lawyer present.
Biohazardous materials across several state lines. I can't begin to tell you the trouble that puts you in. Now, seeing how people are dying, I suggest you help us first, and then you talk to your attorney.
The competition is for a contract with the company developing the vaccine.
And what's the name of that company?
Craig Mack Pharmaceuticals.
That's a major manufacturer. We're talking about a hefty contract.
Hundreds of millions of dollars over several years.
So that's why you stole the virus, to help Jenno and make yourself rich?
I sure as hell wasn't to release it.
Right.
I don't want to kill people.
Right. It's just a harmless case of corporate espionage. Is that it? You think he was desperate enough to release both viruses just to prove Jenno's was more deadly?
Maybe. Like you said, there's also Janice Avery and Dr. Weaver. Somebody else might have gained access that nobody knows about.
Oh, we need to find everybody who can get to both viruses, and I want to talk to Craig Mack about that contract he was so hot to win. Make sure as soon as that data comes in, you guys get it to me. See you. Hey, Abercamp tells me they're responding to treatment, which she says you helped identify. How's it going?
I'm glad I could help.
You all right?
Hey, Don. Did Mom... Did she suffer?
No, not toward the end. I mean, not with all the morphine she was getting, you know? She had one of those... She liked that. Hey, I want to know how you got a top security clearance.
I did some consulting for the NSA.
The National Security Agency.
Yeah, a couple years ago, Bob Tompkins called me.
Oh, wait a minute. Assistant Director Robert Tompkins.
Bob, yeah. Robert.
Charlie, you understand with that? I mean, you don't even need a visitor's pass to come to my office. You have total access.
Really? I never told me that.
I mean, I'm just trying to get my head around the fact that my little brother consulted on an NSA issue that went high enough up for you to call the assistant director by his first name.
The NSA consults with a lot of mathematicians.
You know, you've never been really good at keeping secrets. Think about it. Charlie.
Don, we've got something.
So Craig Mack awarded the contract to Russell Labs 2 weeks before the virus was released. There's a formal announcement due next week.
But you said Russell Labs' germ is less deadly than the one Jenno developed.
I did, and it is.
Right, but then the treatment therapy would be derived from the less potent virus.
When it comes to corporate decision-making, other factors come into play.
Such as?
Russell Labs might not have the best pathogen, but they've got a CEO who's got a good contact at the FDA. That's important to a company like Craig Mack.
This blows the idea that Grolsch was trying to win the contract.
No. He did not know that contract was awarded.
They found something on the bus depot tapes that we have to take a look at.
Weaver.
We got him entering a second bus. This is a guy trusted to develop a deadly virus, and he's releasing it.
There you go. Not a wild-eyed crazy person.
We was not at home, he's not at the office. Told the assistant he'd be gone all afternoon.
Well, let's find him now.
If you reach his voicemail, try again.
Or not.
Hello?
Dr. Weaver, Agent Epps.
Yes, good to hear from you.
Oh, hey, look, I had a few more questions. I was wondering if I could come down there and see you.
Actually, I'm out of the office today.
Oh, really? Well, it'll just take a second. How about we talk on the phone?
I'm driving right now.
Oh, where are you?
I'd be happy to arrange a time to see you tomorrow. Agent Epps, I'm sorry, I really don't like to talk on the phone when I'm driving in city traffic.
All right, notify LAPD and CHP he's in a residential district. His car, all right?
Do not move. Do not move. Do not move.
I've got
Do
the
not
bag.
move. Step back off the curb. Away from the church.
Is all this truly necessary?
You wanted to prove your virus was more powerful, so you tested it on innocent people?
Yes, I had to save lives.
Save lives. 20 people are dead.
If the vaccines and treatments are made from the wrong pathogen and the Spanish flu reemerges, which I assure you it will, we will not be ready. Millions will die.
So you justify these deaths to save more lives later?
If you had been around deadly pathogens as long as I have, you would understand that I had no choice, Agent. They are unforgiving. We have to take every possible measure to protect innocent people.
What do you got?
Candles. They're just candles.
Those are for the victims. I was about to light a candle for each one. Did you think I was planning to release the virus again?
Let's go.
I have no reason to do that.
Let's go.
I've already established that our strain is the more deadly. Releasing it again would be insane.
So, how are you two guys doing? Well, you seem so much more relaxed in the last couple of days.
Yeah, I'd say we're doing pretty okay now. Finished our project. Think I might get my first good night's sleep in about a week.
Glad it's over.
You know, I thought I'd let you know that I'm going to be working down at the shelter next week. I mean, if that's okay with the two of you.
Yeah, I think it's okay now.
I think that's a good idea.
I'll see you two later. I'm going to be going somewhere with Art Stanley.
Uh-oh. What are you two up to?
Bowling. After the fuss you made, I thought I'd give it a try.
Yeah, and I still can't believe you never told me you consulted for the NSA.
There's nothing like this.
I hope not, Charlie. You know, I mean, a lot of stuff comes across my desk. Daily bureau briefings. Chances are I probably already knew about your assignment.
It wasn't an assignment, really. It was more of a consulting gig. Well, it wasn't really all that sensitive. We have troops stationed all over the globe, right?
All right, stop. No, stop. No, stop.
Well, you
Stop.
just
You're
said
right,
you wanted
Charlie.
to,
Look, don't let me play you like that. You made an agreement not to talk. You're right. You shouldn't. I'm sorry. Forget it. It's over. I won't ask. I know how your mind works. I think your mind works pretty well. Right? I wouldn't have it any other way. Tell me what the assignment was.
Wouldn't you like to know?
Come on. What was it?
I really can't tell you. It's
Stop.
In 20 years of teaching, I have never received evaluation comments like these. Boring, me, intellectually inaccessible.
I thought we came up on this hike to get your mind off this ridiculous thing.
How many months One student even said I'm out of touch in cutting-edge thinking in multidimensional theory. I mean, that one alone kept me up at night.
Everybody gets bad evaluations now and then. Come on.
Yeah, since a professor never received anything less than a rave.
As with any large group, there are responses that cover the entire spectrum. I once had a girl in my combinatorics seminar tell me that I was disorganized and I talked too fast.
That's an accurate observation, actually. But generally speaking, I mean, your students love you, whereas mine say my classes put them to sleep.
You're an exceptional professor. I should know. I took classes from you.
But you were an exceptional young mind. Now, perhaps I've just lost the ability to reach the more typical student.
Hey, Professor
Barnard. Hey, how's it? See, we're not even in class, and still my students run away from me.
I don't think that's it. Right down this way. Come on. Hurry, man.
Folks, stay back, please. Let them do their job. Stay around the perimeter here. So, what do we have here?
Finn Montgomery, male, white, 21, Cal-Sci student ID.
No way. It is Finn Montgomery. He jumped.
Professor? My name's Finn Montgomery.
How could this have happened?
Sadly, it happens all the time.
Any witnesses? Not for the launch, a couple after the landing. Textbook header, probable suicide.
This is terrible.
I could really use your advice on some calculations in my engineering thesis.
Well, he could have stepped off the bridge instead of jumping.
Yeah, but there are other factors. You know, while gravity pulled him down, the wind would have pushed him away from the bridge.
Well, look, there's not a lot of wind around here. How much effect would that have?
Finn was wearing a windbreaker. It's non-permeable. It offers an increased surface area for the wind to act upon, especially if he was moving. But if we look at the point of impact, that's not what we see. Wind and gravity are constant, leaving only the surface area. Somehow, that was reduced.
What are you saying? He was unconscious?
Or dead already.
What's the difference between where he should have landed if it was a suicide and where he landed?
Foot to 18 inches.
A foot?
Outside the margin of error.
Listen, unless there is a clear and compelling reason, I can't get the FBI to...
Anything more than what it looks like.
You never mentioned that you had a Fed for a brother.
Fed?
I didn't think it'd be much of a selling point with you, Ava.
My views on government intrusion into academia are rather firm.
Oh, yeah? Would that be too firm to talk about Finn Montgomery?
His suicide or the Malone scandal?
Scandal?
Yeah, another student, Brian Malone, was expelled 2 weeks ago for falsifying data in a lab result, right?
Finn filed the honor code violations that led to Brian's isn't an automatic response to conflict agent apps.
No, but it's a popular one, Miss Salton.
Ava, what was Finn's thesis topic?
It was an engineer's perspective on the work of architect Gar Haybridge. He designed the coal center downtown.
Right, he also did the Kai Lieber Annex. There's something very inviting about that entrance, don't you think?
Yes, there is. Finn was an intense kid. He was obsessive about researching his thesis, but he was falling behind schedule.
And when you say intense, you mean intense enough to kill himself? All right, well, I'd like to take a look at his research.
Here is the key to his office in the library.
Thanks for your cooperation, Mrs. Salt.
Anytime, Fed.
Thanks, Ava. Kai Lieber Annex.
Yeah, well, I was actually staking out a bank for 3 weeks right across the street, and they had